Hello fellow teachers, and please allow me to welcome you to the Presentation Skills course, Part 1 Introduction. My name is Lee and I'm going to be your instructor for this course. So to start with, did you know that every day around the world almost 30 million presentations are given? Now this is quite a large number, but there's a big problem with this. Most of these presentations end up putting the audience to sleep and, in some very extreme cases, even bore the audience to death. So, what should we do about this problem? Well, this is what we're going to be starting off with this course, is how to structure your presentation to make sure it's as successful as possible. Now, this introduction video has been divided into three main areas. First, I'm going to discuss what is structure good for, why it's necessary to structure your presentations. Secondly, I'll be having a look at specifically why as teachers we should be careful how we structure our presentations. And then finally, we shall have a look at whether our structure needs to be simple or complicated. And after I've summarized my main points, we shall have a quick look at what are the goals for the first part of this course structure. So, let's move on to my first point. What is structure good for? Well, a presentation can be seen sometimes a lot like a maze. And now if you don't have structure, your audience can get easily lost, and when somebody's lost, they get bored. Now, if you apply good structure to your presentation and some of the language which we will be learning later on in this course, you can make it easy for your audience to follow you, stay with you all the way through your presentation, and find their way out to the exit of your presentation. So that's all I want to say about what is structure good for. So let's turn to my second point, which is why should we have structure? And especially why as teachers should we be interested in structure? This is mainly to do with the students. The students only have a certain amount of thinking capacity, and so when we are presenting a topic for them to learn, we need them to use as much of their thinking capacity for studying the topic, not trying to find their way out of our presentation or trying to not get lost in all of the things we are saying. So a clearly structured presentation will also help your students study the subject easier. Okay, so finally, let's turn to my last point. And should our presentations be simple or complicated? Well, right now I'm going to show you one of the simplest presentation formats, which is known as the 3 telems. This was coined by Winston Churchill, and he said, whenever you're going to speak in public, you should tell them, tell them, tell them. Now what this basically means is, at the beginning of your speech, you should tell them what you're going to be talking about. Then you should tell them your main message. And after you finish speaking, you should tell them what you just told them. In other words, every presentation should have an introduction, which should be followed by the main body or the main message of your presentation, and you should always finish your presentation with a summary. Now, this is very good for a very simple structure, but in this course we're going to be looking at a slightly more complicated structure, and I will just show you this picture, and this will give you an idea about what our new structure will be like, and hopefully at the end of the first part of this course you will have learned this new structure, and we will be on our first steps to victory in successful presenting. So let me just sum up what we've been talking about so far. First, I told you what is structure good for. This is mainly to stop your audience from getting lost. Secondly, I discussed briefly why as teachers structure is important in our presentations, and this is because our students have a limited amount of thinking capacity, so we want them to keep all of that capacity for studying the subject we're presenting. And finally, we had a look at a very simple three-part presentation structure, and I gave you an idea about the more complicated structure we'll be learning this week. So, to wrap up, let's have a look at what we will be achieving in this first week. So we have three main goals to complete by the end of this week. First, we're going to learn about a suitable type of structure for presentations. It's a little bit more complex than the three-part presentation format, but not much more so. Secondly, you will have to choose a topic for your final assessment presentation. At the end of this presentation skills course, the final test, so to say, will be a 10 to 15 minute presentation which you will create. And in this week, we're going to choose a topic that you would like to present at the end of the course, and this will be the topic you will work on throughout the different sections of this course. And finally this week we're going to take the idea of the topic which you choose and put it into the new structure which we will learn this week. So after this video you will see that there is a Forum 1.1, and this is your first assignment will be to go into this forum and tell the group about a good presentation you have seen. Now, it can have been a presentation you saw in real life, or it could also be a presentation which you saw online. And you have to do two things in the forum. You have to firstly tell us what was the presentation about, tell us the name of the presentation and the presenter's name if you can remember it. But most importantly, tell us why you liked this presentation. Tell us what was good about it. And for an extra bonus point, if it was a presentation which is available online, if you can find the link and put that in the forum, and then maybe we can go and enjoy the presentation ourselves. Okay, so thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video, and I look forward to talking to you in the forums. Goodbye.